through next year, and we're fortunate. We're 2 years into a transformation of this 50-year-old company, TravelCenters. And so despite these challenges, you saw what we did in the third quarter. EBITDA, we beat by about 20% to consensus. Second quarter was as strong, if not stronger. So, yeah, we're going to see these things persist, I think. But I think we're doing a pretty good job, and we have a lot of momentum working through it.
Yeah. Tell me what your thoughts are about gas, just overall gasoline prices. I mean, it does appear things may be moderating a bit, or perhaps even in the futures market, it looks like things should start to come down a bit. Is that your expectation?
Hopefully, I think so. I mean, I think so. Again, on the margin side for us, we've sort of held our own. But on the actual retail pricing to the consumer on the gasoline side, I think it is moderating, and hopefully that persists.
We talk an awful lot about EV here, and I know that's got to be a part of your future business plan. Maybe it's a part of your current business plan as well. What's that going to look like in terms of the ability to roll out enough, enough charging stations to actually satisfy what does appear to be increased demand for these vehicles and for trucks as well?
Well, first of all, as you know, we are along highways, so our origin is supporting freight on highways, so mostly big vehicles. And range anxiety is the question of the day for EV, and you will see in mid-decade places like California the acceleration of the proliferation of EV passenger duty, meaning cars, consumers' cars. You'll see that, and what we are planning and preparing to build out infrastructure to support that in those key areas through a new business we're calling ETA, little ETA. And on the truck side, there's a little more time and a lot of big infrastructure kinds of problems and challenges that will persist for a while. So I don't think you'll see major shifts there, for at least until the 2030s. But mid this decade, you're going to see it happen on the car side for sure with respect to EV. And so we're building out a plan right now, and frankly, pretty excited about it.
That's interesting. There was news in the last week or so about some patents being filed that would eventually allow you to charge an EV in about the same amount of time it takes to fill a gas tank. I wonder if you think that's in the realm of the possible.
Boy, I follow that. Obviously, we follow this very, very carefully. There is so much news, and it's great. It's exciting. There's so much out there. It's a little tricky to figure out the signal within the noise because there is so much. That certainly could play out. It's really hard to tell right now. The bigger question is, can our nationwide infrastructure, the grid, even supplemented by renewables, support the demand, the massive increase in demand we expect to support cars and then eventually trucks. And I think it's going to take a little bit of time for a lot of questions to be answered, including that one, rapid charging at 10 minutes or so.
There's been a lot of reporting on the White House and the way that they are eyeing the difference between oil and retail gasoline, asking the FTC to maybe take a look. Yesterday, Crescent said that there might be something to it. They say gas prices, according to their work, 34 cents higher than what would be explained ordinarily by crude oil. They say getting a 10% discount might be worth the president's effort. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I mean, I know there's been question out there about either gouging. I haven't seen anything of that, and I think what we're doing a decent job of the increase in costs we're seeing, we're passing along to some extent. And while we're also getting better and more efficient through our transformation at driving down our own costs so we can pass those relative savings to our consumers. But that's a question that's worth asking and maybe out there.
Yeah, and finally, just to come back to EV, because it is fascinating. I mean, when you talk about a long-term plan and you spend time thinking about it, give us a little sense as to what the main things you are trying to understand are. Is it what goes into sort of figuring out, all right, how do we replace current gasoline stations with EV charging, or do we expand? I don't know. Just give me some more sense, and our viewers a sense, John, of some of the variables that you're trying to take in here.
Well, we're fortunate. We have unusually large sites. Our sites average 24 acres along the highways. Our competitors, again, the ones along the highways, average about 10 acres. Therefore, we have the ability to allow various forms of energy to coexist, from diesel, gasoline, electric. And so for us, the coordination of these various sources of energy are not as much of a concern, because then they can coexist on our large sites. And so, that's one variable we don't have to worry too much about. The bigger question is, where do we invest these precious capital dollars on infrastructure on our sites? Where and when and how fast? So we certainly don't want to get too much ahead of the market and not be good stewards of our precious dollars. On the other hand, we need to be prepared to embrace these changes that are coming. So those are the kind of variables that I think a lot about, and we focus a lot of energy on to make sure we get that timing and geography right over these next several years.
Yeah, it's going to be a key thing, of course, as we continue to watch this this roll out, so to speak. John, thanks for your time. Appreciate it.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate it as well.
As we go to break, let's get to our ETF spotlight. We're looking at Global X Cybersecurity, ticker BUG, up more than 20% year to date. Top 3 holdings include Okta, Zscaler, and Palo Alto. New all-time high today on this quarterly beat. Shares up more than 80% from a year ago. For the year, it's up about 50. That's twice the S&P. We'll talk to the CEO tonight. Cramer's guest on Mad Money at 6 p.m. Eastern Time. Don't go away.